Hello, hello to the first person in the house, Fed Up American. How are you doing? Thanks for dropping in. I definitely appreciate it. And as you can see, the title, what are your favorite moments in 2022 in the bush? I have a lot of them. So I'm going to wait for a few more people to get in. And then I'm going to talk about my favorite moments. And I want to hear your favorite moments in the bush. As you guys know, this is the Virginia Bushcrafter. And I just love learning and practicing bushcrafting, prepping, and survival skills. To me, there is nothing else like it. Hey, John Harris, how are you doing? Thanks for dropping in and let me know what were your favorite moments in 2022 in the bush. Hey, Prepared Irishman, thanks for dropping in. I definitely appreciate it. I'm just waiting for a few more to get in so we can talk about our famous topic of bushcrafting, prepping, and survival. I'm really hoping to do a lot more of all-nighters in 2023. As of right now, on January the 11th, unfortunately, I would not be getting back into the bush until late February. And that's a bummer. But hey, it is what it is. 22 is when my son started a fire with a ferro rod, and he is 9 years old. And that is fantastic. You know, I think a lot of people may have this fear of what if that ferro rod doesn't work? One thing that we do know, the ferro rod will work rain, snow, sleet, or shine. And learning at 9 years old, wow, I wish I had learned that when I was 9 years old, because I'm sure you were excited, fed up, and I'm sure your son was just as excited to start that fire with that ferro rod. You know, when I go into the bush, I always carry at least two ferro rods or even more. And in the entire year of 2022, not one time did I use a match or a lighter to start a fire. Now, I may have used a match to burn the end of some paracord or to light a candle, but I try to remain as primitive as possible. Hey, John, my favorite moments are always making fires. John, that's good. You know, I think, let's see, if the ferro rod doesn't work, I have stormproof matches, a big lighter, a 9-volt battery, and steel wool. I also have a few different kinds of tinder in my bag, and that's called being prepared. Having more than one method of starting a fire. Yeah, I definitely have the ferro rod. I have the flint and steel mattress lighters, but I haven't tried the 9-volt battery. Hey, Mac Bean, Scottish, how are you doing? Good. I'm glad you could drop in. And hey, guys, if you haven't seen Mac Bean lift those weights, Mac Bean bench pressed the other day 430 pounds. I think he started off taking up 400, then he went to 425, and then he went to 430 pounds. Man, can you imagine how much weight he has lifted and getting to be able to efficiently and effectively lift 430 pounds? My hat goes off to him. Yeah, that was it. I'm sure it was a good meet, man. I'm waiting. I think you said you have another one next month. Yeah, yeah. I could tell. I mean, there's a big difference when I was lifting my weights. I mean, 5 pounds was a big difference, and I can only imagine going from 400. Wow, 45 years old, the first time that he hit 405. Wow. You know what? I'll tell you guys. Honestly, with me, the most I ever bench pressed is when I was competitive swimming. And the most I got up to was 175 pounds. But I started off with 50 pounds. And I think I don't know if I overdid it or not. I ended up having surgery. Okay, Fed Up America, I bench 200 pounds and I'm 35. You're 35 years old. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I don't know if I'll ever really do that again because right now I'm just doing light weights, high repetition, just trying to tone up. But yeah, man, my hat is off to you guys, man. Lifting that amount of weight. Wow. I mean, 405 pounds. Can you just imagine? That is that's amazing. But yeah, I need to have yeah, you're right. It is good. But I need to have you guys in the bush with me when I'm trying to lift those logs, man. Trying to drag, you know, you excuse me. Excuse me, everyone. I'm just getting over a cold and so forth. But water heaters as weights. Really? Water heaters. Wow. Water heaters. Wow. Yeah, but when I'm lifting logs in the bush and then I'm pulling them over to where I'm going to process them, man, sometimes I become winded. But the good thing is when you're in the bush and you have sufficient endurance and stamina, you have to know your limits. You can't overdo it. You know, Yard work is exercise. Also, the water heater. Yeah, yeah, yard work. I was talking to someone about that today. That is some exercise. You guys remember I may be telling my age when we used to have those push mowers, no motors. It would take me and my sister. She'd get on one side and I'd get on one side, and we'd run with that mower and just watch that grass pop back up. Hey, Donna, how are you doing? Thanks for dropping in. I definitely appreciate it. I definitely appreciate it. Yeah, but yeah, guys, I'm just going to tell you about my favorite moments when I was in the bush in 2022. And I think one of my most fantastic, most famous moments is when I made that hammock bed out of wood. Now, I had seen another person do it, and his name is Corporal's Corner. Hey, Alexander the Great, how are you? I'm so glad you caught my live. I really like Alexander the Great videos. They're so touching, and she just tells it just like it should be told. You know, there's no reservations of what she says, and I think that's one of we all have good strong points, but when she says what she says and means it, it just flows so well and is so comprehensible. So thank you for that, Alexandra. I really appreciate it. But yeah, when I made that hammock bed, I had seen Corporal Corner make it. So I went out there with my Jungle King knife and my small Jungle King knife, and I took some rope with me, and of course I always had the paracord. And like being keep an eye on that Bad boy. I know both eyes. Okay. Thank you for the. Yeah, you're welcome. You're definitely welcome, Alexander. Yeah. But when I took that rope out there and that paracord and made that hammock, I was really proud of myself. I had some reservations about the way I hoisted it up and had it tied to the two trees, but it worked. I just followed Corporal's Corner's instruction, and the bed performed wonderfully. Now, the rope itself said that it would hold up to 300 pounds, so I was pretty good with the weight. And the thing about the bed, it swung just like a hammock because it is a hammock. I had a nice fire about 3 feet away. And the thing about it, I had to feed the fire a lot, which means getting out of that hammock. But that was really, really enjoyable. How I scored the wood, lash it together. But I learned something from every project. The next time that I do it, I'm going to use the square knots, and then I'll have to use less paracord. And instead of using rope to hoist it and hang it with, I'm going to use mule tape that holds up to 1,800 pounds. So there will not be any reservations whatsoever. So that was one of my greatest moments. If you guys get the chance, go and check that video out where I made that hammock. I guess it's a wooden hammock bed. Yeah. And then one of the another exciting thing is when I made the Dakota Fire. Now I had seen another creator make a Dakota Fire, and his name is Dave of I think it's Real Big Monkey. I had been wanting to make that Dakota Fire for a long time. But you have this thing, when I make it, is it going to work? Do I make one before I go on YouTube and make one? I was very hesitant, but I saw another person make one and it did not turn out so great. So that put more doubt in my mind. But I just kept saying, I'm going to make this Dakota Fire. Whatever it takes, I'm going to do it. So I had a shovel with me, a 7-inch knife, and a very inexpensive 10-inch knife. And I dug out the fire pit, which was about 2.5 to 3 feet. And it was about maybe 12 to 18 inches in diameter. And then I dug out the oxygen pit, was about the same depth and diameter. And then I took my very inexpensive pocket knife and dug a channel in there. And during the video, I even put my hand all the way into both pits, the oxygen pit and the fire pit, and my hand through the channel to show that I did make it all the way through. And the objective of that Dakota Fire was to keep the flames below the ground. And I was able to do that. So I was very proud of myself of doing that. That's a fun project, need a lot of practice. And you know what? That was the first time I did it. But and again, after we always do something like that, we always know there's a better way to do it. So I even bent my shovel on it. So, but I'm looking forward to, I'm going to do that again. And this time I want to do it quicker and more efficient. And then I use some green saplings, some rather large green saplings, and I use those saplings as my grill. And I cook some noodles And then I also roasted some smart dogs. So I had noodles and smart dogs and some Gatorade. So I really enjoyed that. I admired your. Oh, thank you. This weekend I am filming for another channel and finally gonna crack my ferro rod. If it's not raining, Alexander the Great, I'm going to be 100% behind you in doing that ferro rod. And I'm looking forward to seeing your other channel as well. As I said, it's something about when watching people who are really, really serious. Um, I mean, Alexandra shows her emotions. You can see them. And I think, I don't know, maybe we all do in some form of fashion, but hers just matches what she says. So it's just relaxing my films and my journey. Yeah, she has another channel that's relaxing. I think I saw that first one that you did, and I really enjoyed. But you know, guys, one of the most exciting things that I look forward to when I go to the bush is making a fire. I've said this before, just like a bicycle, a bicycle will not function without the hub on the wheels. When you have that hub and the spokes that connect to the rim, and you have the inner lining and the tube and the tire, none of that is functional unless you have that hub. So I look at the fire as the hub when I'm bushcrapping. So when I go in there and I set up my shelter, I harvest my wood, I process my wood, I have my water, and it is so enjoyable to build that tinder bundle, strike that ferrocerium rod, blow into it, get the flames going. And I have this thing about when I build a fire, that fire will not go out until I leave. I want to be in control of that fire. I want to manage that fire to its fullest. And the thing I like about making the fires is because we have to have a combustible ferrocerium rod, flint and steel, or the bow drill or the plow drill, So we have to have that combustible. We have to have our tinder, preferably from the nature, from the trees, or a lot of times that wood is just wet, so we'll bring our do-it-yourself tinder, cotton balls and Vaseline or hand sanitizer or magnesium, and then we'll make our kindling, our feather sticks, or sometimes we just use the twigs. We get that fire started, we feed that fire, and then we start throwing on that fuel, wrist size or smaller sizes of wood. You get that fuel going, and we constantly keep it going with the oxygen. And then when I'm out there at night and I can see those stars, hear the crackling and the popping of the fire, feel the warmth of the fire, it doesn't matter to me how cold it is, because when you have a fire, you are going to be warm. And that fire, it just helps me overall, relax, serenity. It's going to, keep predators away, hopefully keep the predators away. Just hearing that crackling and popping, man, to me, that is the main focus. That's the main hub of bushcrafting. Now, I know bushcrafting, when they say crafting, you're supposed to be making something, whether it's crafting a fork, a spoon, a knife, or something. So on one of my trips, I did actually make a chair. Now, this is so strange. I had an old bed sheet in the trunk of my car. And what I used that bed sheet for, along with some plastic that's in my vehicle, that is when, if I were to harvest a deer, and after I field dress a deer, I can put that in my vehicle and maybe, leftover blood and so forth won't drip onto my vehicle. But I had that bedspread in my car. So I said, I'm going to take this out and I'm going to use this as coverage as well, besides my bivy sack and so forth. But I just got this notion to make a tripod because I had seen another content creator make this chair. And I said, I'm just going to try it. But this other person had used t-shirts. You make the tripod and then you get another piece of wood and you put the wood through the sleeves and the neck of the t-shirt and you fold the bottom of the t-shirt up around the top of the 3 pieces of wood that are together. And there you have it, you have your chair. But since I did not have the t-shirts, I said, you know what? This bedspread should suffice. So I made that chair and I enjoyed that chair late at night, sitting back, watching that fire, and it was about 2 or 3 in the morning. And I'm just saying, you know what? I just wish so many other people could do this and really understand it because it's just amazing. It's just fun. And another highlight I had was actually sourcing the water. I have a mini Sawyer. So I said, you know what? When it comes to survival, sometimes fire is life. You're absolutely right. Also, fire is almost like the best calming medicine for your brain. And it's true. Fire is healthy for you. It can be dangerous, but I think it's very healthy. And, I'll say this real quick. I even made little fires in my garage, which, I wouldn't do again. I made them in my backyard, out of a fire pit. But it's nothing like that challenge that when you go out there, you get out there at a certain time, you build your shelter, and when it's going to get dark. And with the time that it is now, it gets darker quicker. So you've got to get enough wood to last you. Now, if I'm out there for a day, I usually have wood left over. But even when I'm out there overnight, I very seldom have any wood left over. The last time I was out there, I had a lot of wood. And I said, I know I'm not going to use all of it. But the very next morning, I had maybe enough wood to go for maybe keep the fire going for maybe another 30 minutes before it all turned into coals. Because, yep, you're right. I agree with you. It's therapy for me. Yeah, you're right. But that fire, the more coals you get, the faster that fire burns. So, man, that's to me the main focus of building that fire. Now, also the water, I always bring a lot of water with me if I'm not near water. The best memory from my childhood was snow sledding and setting up fire in snow in the forest. Magical. To Alexander, I was telling someone today that I think the more adverse the weather is, the more I want to go out there because as long as there's wood, I'm going to be okay. But what I haven't done yet, I have not made water out of snow. And I understand that you can fill your nesting cup up with snow and you won't get that much water. So you have to continuously add snow. Now, I'm looking forward to doing that. I'm really looking forward to doing that. And guys, something else I learned on my last trip. Now I understand why they say you don't fill your canteens up all the way when it's very cold. You turn them upside down and you leave some space there because the water expands. Now I've never had a canteen to burst on me because all of mine are metal with the exception of just one of them. But I would not want to have any of them expand and burst. So, that's another thing I learned out there. I was telling someone today, bushcrafting is not a destination, it's a journey. Because for me, every time I go out there, I go out there with a plan, a specified task, and I perform that task. But sometimes you're going to run into some abnormalities all the time. Last time, I've never had a problem tying knots with gloves. The last time I was out there, I really had a problem tying knots with the gloves. I had to put them on and take them off, put them on and take them off, put them on and take them off. Now I understand why guys and girls will buy the gloves where the fingertips are out. So that's on my bucket list to purchase some before I go back out in February. But again, I know I'm skipping around because there's just so many great memories for 2022. But sourcing that water, I even actually took my mini Sawyer, filled it up, drank from it to show that I do believe in the filter. But I do know it is best to filter that water and then purify that water. And by purifying it, there are numerous ways you can do it. You can do it by taking a bandana, putting your charcoal in the bandana, put it in the bottle, and pour the water through there. That will filter it. Charcoal, sand, grass. I haven't tried that, but I've already gotten me a container, put the holes in it. I'm going to try that. But I am safe. I feel safe boiling the water. And I read that if you're at 6,500 feet, if you're at sea level or below 6,500 feet, you only have to boil your water for 1 minute. And if you're above 6,500 feet, you should boil your water 3 minutes. But I take the extra precaution to boil that water for at least 10 minutes. So that's one thing I like, sourcing the water. And so now when it comes to my cutting tools, boiling is the safest. I agree 100%, John Harris. I really do. And that's why I will always do it. Now, and then the mini Sawyer, if I'm constantly on the move, yeah, that's a different story. But you're right. I agree. Boiling that water, 100%. Now, when it comes to my cutting tools, I have a plethora of cutting tools. I have machetes. I have large knives, medium knives, small knives, skinny knives. That's interesting. Here in BC, we have pretty clean water. I drank from river and lake using my crazy cap and life straw. But still, if I have to boil, yes, will do for a few minutes. That's good. Yeah, Alexandra, I saw when you were there and you used, I think it was a life straw. That water was beautiful. I said, man, that water, it even looks tasty, But yeah, but then again, I think we're all in agreement that boiling your water is the surest way to purify it. Now, when it comes to my cutting tools, I'm going to always take a hatchet with me. If it's a 1 day, 1 hour, even when I go hunting, I have a small hatchet. So I like that hatchet because The Condor. Oh yeah, the Condor knives. Let me just tell you this. I have a King Kukri machete. It is a beast when it comes to chopping. Has that nice convex grind. I also have a heavy duty. It's called a heavy duty knife, which is the Condor. That thing is just fabulous. Put the lanyard on there. The thing is fabulous, and it's a convex edge as well. And I have a Mountain Pass Camp knife that is 7 inches. When I bought that knife, the Mountain Pass Camp knife, I thought I was buying a Scandinavian grind. I bought it, then I was somewhat despondent with it. Then I liked it, then I didn't. And the next thing I did like it because it's a flat grind with a double bevel, and it's 7 inches. And I put the lanyard on it, and the thing is razor sharp, and it batons. I mean, it splits wood so well. So I really do like the Condor products. Now I even have some Kershaw's, Jungle King. I mean, and the thing is, I like maintaining my knives. As a matter of fact, since I cannot go back into the bush, we do have a lot of contaminated water here in Virginia. You're right. You're right, and that gives me great concern. It really does. But I think, guys, if we always look for running water instead of still water, I personally don't want water from a pond. I want it from a stream, a creek, a running river, or a waterfall. But yeah, I've been reading about that. I've read about that, and that really, really concerns me. Uh, hey, how you doing, prepared Irishman? Love the Condor knives, sturdy and reasonably priced. They are. But I like to keep my knife really sharp. As they say, a dull knife is a dangerous knife. So, but what I really want to get better at is sharpening that convex grind. Now, I have bought me a what is it called? The strop. Uh, it has the rough leather on one side and the smoother leather on the other side. So I've been using that, and it turns out pretty well. But for some reason, I just think my knives aren't sharp enough. They aren't sharp enough. I mean, they will cut paper so easily. But I just like my knives to be very, very sharp. And when I come home, I wash them in liquid dish detergent, and then I'll stand the edges back up with a honing rod, and I'll put a light coat of oil on them, and they're ready for the next outing. And also with my knives, every time I go out, I always want to take a different knife because with every knife, I think you should be able to perform all of your tasks with one knife. Because what if you're out there all alone and you just have one knife? But I just do that because to me it's a challenge, and I love knives. I even have a Bud K kukri that was gifted to me, and I took it out once, and when I came back, my palm was just sore, and I did not take it out for a long time. So I decided to take it out once again, and it's just learning the techniques of doing the chopping. And I had no problem. I enjoyed it so well that I took it out the very next time. And I like it because it's carbon steel. They say it's 1075 carbon steel, but I've read that the blade is made from the leaf springs of vehicle in India. But yeah, I really, really, really enjoy my cutting tools. And when it comes to saws, I have saw that I use the most is a Fiskar. It's an 18-inch D-ring, and it cuts on the push and the pull. Now, what I've learned about that saw, because it's very, let me see, the blade itself is 18 inches long, and the height I'm going to just take a guess and say at least maybe 6 inches. What I found out about that, it will bind up into the wood when you're cutting something that's maybe 14 inches, 12 or 14 inches. It may bind up in the wood more so than a blade that is not as high, not as tall. So I'm really thinking about getting a bow saw. I think it's called the Borel Agua. I'm thinking about getting that one. So I'm thinking about getting that one, but I do have sufficient saws. I have a Corona saw that I really like. It says it cuts up to 10 inches, but I mean up to 6 inches, but I've cut up to 11, 12 inches with that. And it's a pull saw only. I have another, it's a Gerber, and it's good for cutting things like 6 inches. And I carry that as a backup saw. Um, I'm finishing listening tomorrow. Okay, great. I work so tired and still gotta put my son to bed, and he's falling asleep. Good night, everyone. Okay, thank you very much, Alexander the Great. I appreciate you dropping in, and I'll be seeing you on your videos, or you can see me on my next one. Take care. Now, and then I have another saw that I bought. The teeth are not very large, and it's from Harbor Freight. But and then I also have a another saw. It's a Coleman, and I keep that one in my hunting bag. So those are like some of the silky. You're right. You know what? But I haven't. For some reason, I don't know. They say, well, the silkies are very expensive, and I haven't wanted to bear the cost of a silky. But I think it's the Silky 2000. I think that's the one I'm really interested in. But I really like the one, the Silky 500. Is that the one they call the Gatana? Man, that thing does some serious sawing. But I don't know if I'll have a need for that one, but who knows. But yeah, so some of my greatest moments, like I said, is that hammock bed, Dakota Fire. Uh yeah, I bet it does cut like butter. I bet it does. Uh water sourcing, and another thing that I really enjoyed and I'm learning more about now is navigation. You know, before I really got into bushcrafting, I always took my GPS system, and that GPS system worked flawlessly. Well, let me say 99% of the time. It would always bring me back to my vehicle, but it would never bring me the way that I left out. And that kind of concerned me, but it always brought me, ever since I bought it back in 2008, it's always brought me back to my vehicle. Now, sometimes I was in areas where I couldn't get a signal, and that was kind of disappointing. But what I do now, I take a compass with me and I set my bearings, and I use that compass to come out. I said, Jim, just trust your compass, trust your compass. But if I feel like I'm getting off course, I'll pull out my GPS system, and my GPS system will confirm that I'm going the right way. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to learn to use the compass so well that I don't have to depend on the GPS system, because I once went to this one place called Rapidan Wildlife Management, and I was up in the mountains. I was hunting, and it was snowing, and I could not get a signal uh, when I came down out of the tree. But luckily, I was able to follow my footprints in the snow all the way back down to the road, to the trail, and the signal picked up again. So tells me why I'm glad I've used my compass. I'm getting better at it, and those have been enjoyable moments. And I'm going to learn how to read a topographical map, because the topographical map I'm going to pick out my destination before I leave my residence, and I'm going to know exactly where I'm starting, and I'm going to know exactly where I'm going. I'll know where all the valleys are, the ridges, where the water sources are. So that's why I say it's just so much to learn, and so much to learn in bushcrafting. But I'll tell you guys a funny story. Hey, my mother Sparks, how are you doing? You know, I'm sorry you didn't get the notification. Um, I just started this live because actually I got off for another live, another one of my friends who is they're real estate specialists, and I go to their channel and watch all the time. So they wanted to have their first, this is their second season, their first episode, and they wanted to feature me because every time I go online or I go to their live, it's the Virginia bushcrafter, and they just wanted to know who is this Virginia bushcrafter. So it was really a pleasure, and the name of that group is called the Anthony. It's called Fernando and Anthony. Um, just basically two real estate guys with over 70 years of experience. If you guys get a chance, just check out Fernando and Anthony. They have a slogan: is not the same as chasing gazillions, or it's not the same as chasing millions, or something to that effect. Something about gazillions and millions. But yeah, it was really good. So right after I got off, I said, you know what? Let me just pop on here and see what's going on. But yeah, let's see where I was talking about a compass that I'm going to learn to efficiently learn how to use a compass. This is what I was saying. I wanted to tell you this story once that when I said I'm going to use this compass, I'm not pulling out this GPS system. I went, I made a shelter, harvested some wood, had me a meal, laid down a wall, put some more wood in my rucksack because I said, I got to take some of this wood home with me. And I'm going to use this compass to get out. So I start using my compass, and I'm saying to myself, this is not right. This compass is not taking me the right way. So I looked at my GPS system, and it kept saying, you're going further away from your vehicle. I said, but I'm going to trust my compass. I'm going to follow this compass. I kept going. Looked at my GPS system again. Okay, you're 345 yards away. I kept going, looked at again. It's like you're 400, 500. Lo and behold, I was 900 yards away from my vehicle. I kept saying, you know what? Maybe I should just call the wildlife management, the warden on duty, and tell him, hey, come and get me. I'm lost. Hey, how you doing, Krubby the Beagle? Thanks for dropping in. So I said, no, it's daylight. I'm just going to go back the other direction. I'm going to find my way back. If I get caught in the dark, that's why I have flashlights and headlamps. I'm going to find my way back. So starting from 900 feet, 900 yards to 845, going through all type of woods and thickets and so forth, it was very, very, very difficult. What I realized when I got back to my vehicle, I never set my compass. What happened is that I saw a guy, we started chatting, and I never took a bearing. So that was when I look back at it now, I can laugh on it, but it wasn't a laughing matter then. So again, some enjoyable moments. Just saying, I'm going to learn how to use that compass. I'm going to learn how to use that topographical map. And I'm also going to use some ranger, they call them ranger beads or paste beads. And that's basically, you can go somewhere count your steps every 100 yards or 60 yards or 50 yards. And for example, if I go walk 100 yards and it takes me 62 steps, I know that every 62 steps I've traveled 100 yards. So when I get, I think it's 9 beads, learn from your mistakes. That's right. Better to find out now than when you have no GPS. And that's true. And I'll be honest. I'll be honest with you. I think I've used that GPS system so long that it's become a crutch because I don't leave out of here with it, but I don't leave out of here with my compass. And I always keep my compass around my neck or in my cargo pocket. But I do know now that I'm always going in, I'm using my compass and I'm using my compass coming out. And I think, I don't know, you guys can leave some comments in the chat or leave me some advice or something. I think my issue is latitude. It's like it brings me back in the right direction, but then why am I 50, 60, 70 yards away from my vehicle? Whereas my GPS system will bring me right to my vehicle. And I think it has something to do with latitude or taking back bearings or something to that. But I'm going to learn it one way or the other. But yeah, those were some really, really great memories of 2022 bushcrafting. But I think, and this was kind of funny, is that I started bushcrafting. Well, I joined the channel on January the 29th, 2022. And I was in Texas on my patio, and I had what kind of it's a silver. I think it's called a silver compass. Yeah, but it doesn't have a magnifying glass. I mean, it has the mirror that I can use as a signaling mirror, but I also want a magnifying glass because then that would be another tool to start a fire. But I remember the first fire. Well, my first fire was when I was out hunting. I just had to start a fire and cook some oatmeal and things like that. But I was on my patio and I had some firewood and I just wanted to take that brand new uh, Condor Mountain Pass camp knife and just start batoning it and making some feather sticks, and which I did. And I was on my patio and I was using a shovel because I didn't have a pit. And I was just back there, you know, building me a fire. And it was just like, wow, this is really, really exciting, you know. But the thing about it, I didn't have a ferrocerium rod, so I had to start that fire with a match. And it was really hard. It was really hard. But nevertheless, I got it started. It's always great to see you, Bush VA. You have a great night and keep bushcrafting. Take care, everyone. Thank you, John Harris. I appreciate you for coming in. But I can remember that was my first fire. And it was exciting. And I remember I was on my patio with pitchers of water and a fire extinguisher and all of that, you know. But it's like I don't want to burn down anything, but it's like I just had to try that knife out, and I just wanted to make some feather sticks, and I wanted to try the batoning, and I've gone from there to all the way to making a fire that I don't want it to go out until I leave the next day. But yeah, guys, if you guys, you know, Vision Preparedness is going to be having a meetup the first weekend of June, and I think that's going to be pretty exciting to meet so many creators. You know, we always chat with them online and so forth, but I think when you really put, you know, a real face to a name and shake their hands, I think that's going to be so exciting. And he's going to have a Stop the Bleed class, and everyone's going to be kind of doing their own thing. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of knowledge imparted on everyone there, you know. So I'm really looking forward to that. But I just think to me, when you tell people about bushcrafting, prepping, and survival, they always stop and get hung up on that word prepping. So you are a prepper. Well, I tell them that we are all preppers, whether you realize it or not. You're a prepper. If you have a spare tire in your vehicle, you're a prepper because you are preparing. You're preparing for something you're hoping that never happens. You don't want a flat tire. Um, you have right now, you may have more than ample food or funds in the bank. That's preparing. So, what was your best trip in the wood? My best trip in the woods is when I made that um, the bed, the paracord, the hammock. That was the best because had been wanting to do that so much. That was the best. But then again, it's hard to say because the first night I spent out there in the woods by myself, man, it was really cold. I did not get any sleep. I thought I did, but I don't think I really did. And I remember there was this light drizzle. And then I took this plastic bag, I put it over some of the wood. Um, and I just sat there, and the fire didn't go out. And just hearing that fire just constantly crackle and pop. So it's hard to say. I'm gonna have to retract that and say I think my best, most enjoyable trip in the woods is my first time I spent the night by myself. And I want to say that was sometime in April. It was a chilly one. And my rucksack had to weigh about 50 or 60 pounds because I think I had everything in the kitchen sink and didn't use all of it. But it was really, really enjoyable. And, the thing about trying to get people to go with you, it's really a schedule thing. But I think a lot of people just see the end results, which to me is that fire and just having fun. But when you see what goes into it, harvesting that wood, processing that wood, maintaining that fire, knowing that it's going to go out if you don't put more wood in it, managing that fire, saying, I don't want to put more wood in there than necessary, it can be really exhausting. My first time going into the bush, that morning when I left, the only thing I wanted was a cup of coffee. Now I had tea with me, I had chocolate, but it was just something I was going to the first 7-Eleven to get that coffee. And when I came home, took that shower, man, I felt so good, reflected on everything that I had done and what I could have done better and how much more there is to learn. Man, it is really, I don't know if you really understand until you really do it. It's just really connecting with nature. Man, what we have put behind us and don't realize what's there. I mean, you cannot go anywhere and buy these experiences. You just can't. I mean, it's great for whether you're a bushcrafter, whether you're a camper, or you're just a hunter, a fisherman, just getting out in the lake in your John boat, which I don't have, but I've been in one, but just connecting with nature, man, that is an invaluable experience. Wouldn't trade it for anything at all. But coffee and camping is you're right. I would not forget that again now. And you know what? Now I just like my coffee when I go out there. I just like it straight. I used to put this flavored cream and everything, and then I said, you know what? That's more weight. And then I met up with X24 Reviews when I was actually in Texas, and he turned me on to saying, hey, just put some honey in there. I put that honey in there, man, a game changer. But I really do like that coffee, just straight black. man. I mean, and then again, when I was in Texas, my cousin, he made what's called cowboy coffee, just the grinds in there, and he boils it, and then he put some cold water in it, and he let it sit there, And he said, "This is what we used to do on the construction site." Man, that coffee, whoo, it makes your eyes open very wide. But it was good. It was good. So, but yeah, I like that. I like my coffee just straight now. But yeah, it's guys. If you get a chance, you know, um, go out into the bush, and what I would suggest, don't go only as far as you can see your vehicle, so that you're comfortable. So, and if you can't go with someone, but if you're not able to, make sure you can see your vehicle. So, and do a day trip, and just to get make that first step, and then each time you go, you want to go a little further. But me, when I went out there the first time, it's like I don't know where my vehicle. I knew where it was, but sometimes I think I really went too far. But and then I found out bushcrafting is not about intentionally putting a 50-pound rucksack on your back and going out there for 2 or 3 miles, which I did a couple of times. And man, I tell you, I paid for it. I was exhausted for a week. But it's all fun. But I would suggest, just go out there, with a friend, a family member. Hey, have some tea. Um, you might even, and a lot of these wildlife management areas, you can fish on them. They have nice trails that you can just go and walk. They have a lot of history to them. One of them that I go to, it used to be a military base. So, I mean, and you can find some very, very, I mean, a friend of mine found these old dishes and old bottles, and he collects them. So, I mean, you can find things like that. And you can actually tell on the fields where they were actually used to practice, because they have signs saying, and it's noted that if you see anything suspicious as some type of munition, call the game warden, don't touch it, because it used to be a military Air Force base, but they have the lakes. I mean, of course there's hunting there, but whenever there's hunting season, I would go on a Sunday, because there's no hunting on a Sunday in most of the locations. But after hunting season, you can go during the week or at any time. But hey, DC Outdoors, how you doing? Thanks for dropping in. DC Outdoors has a fantastic channel too. He does something that I long to do, and that's ice fishing. And here in Virginia, I don't know if that will ever happen here. And I've always been saying, wow, what happened if that ice breaks? But it's like, don't think negative, think positive. But that's like, man, they drill that hole and that ice that's like 12, 13, 14, 18 inches. And they can actually see those fish in the water. And I saw where his son pulled one up, but it got off the hook, but he caught it again. Man, that's like really, really, really exciting. I don't know why I just want to do all these kinds of things. But someday I know I'll get to ice fish someday. But yeah, but that's that ice fishing. That again, guys, is reconnecting with nature. Man, I think you know everyone always saying, if something happens, I'm going to run to the wood. I'm going to run to the wood. And I'm saying to people, I'm not going to run to the woods. I'm going to stay where I am. But if I have to run to the woods, I'm very confident that I can survive in the woods, because when I go to the woods and I'm there surviving, I want to know I'm in a good location. And if I'm not in a good location, thanks for bushcraft. Ice fishing is a blast. Yeah, we like it a lot. The ice is thick, 14 plus inches now, and wow, that's really, really thick. 14 inches of ice. That's why I guess they have that mechanical device to just drill that in. And I wonder, yeah, I think it is electric that they use, but guys, I'm telling you, that's a lot of fun. But yeah, but I was saying, I know that if I had to go out in the bush, I'm going to survive. But another thing I have to learn, and you like say within a year, I just only been doing this for a year. That's so much to learn. I really have to learn how to forage, you know, because I don't eat. I'm a vegetarian, MacBean, and I am back. Hello, hey, I'm glad you're back, MacBean. Um, I don't know. I was telling someone. I said, you know what? I guess if push came to shove, and I had to eat meat, I guess I would. But I haven't eaten meat in a very, 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 very long time. But yeah, so that's something. I mean, I have so many goals for 2023, and I know you don't learn them overnight or in one day or something like that. But so I'm really going to be focusing on the navigation, foraging. Um, I want to get I want to start making different type of shelters actually from nature itself instead of using tarps so much. You know, I've gotten so comfortable using tarps that there are a few more that I want to make. Mine is okay, hand cranking manual auger that you drill by hand is not too bad to do this time of year, but gets tiring by the time um, punch a bunch of holes. Yeah, I bet it does. But you know what? See here again, that's where that uh, physical fitness comes in and stamina and so forth. But I think, hey, Stock Explorer, how are you? Thanks for dropping in. I appreciate it so much. Yeah, Stock Explorer is another great channel. I've been missing it lately. Um, yeah, I really thought I was going to be. I think the last time I went out was maybe 2 weeks ago, and I thought I was going to be able to go out sooner, you know. But as it turns out, here it is, January the 11th, and I know I won't be able to get out until late February. But I guess, it's good to take some time off because what I'm going to be doing now is basically making sure I have everything in order, sharpen those tools up again, start reading about the topo map, and so forth, and all that good stuff. All the cool kids are here. Yeah, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I think we are the coolest, and I think all of us in this entire community. Hey, my aunt, how you doing? Yeah, I'm going to be seeing you real soon. Yeah, my aunt is in Seguin, Texas, and we had a meetup at her location. Her daughter sponsored one. Man, that was a blast. It was a blast. It was amazing. Her daughter, she actually did shavings. I was surprised. She started a fire. It was great. The only mistake that I made, my GoPro was set to turn off every 2 minutes. But it was a blast. And I'm looking forward to doing it again. It's not often that you get to enjoy time with your relatives. So I'm going to be headed back down there again. And we're going to do it again. And it's going to be very enjoyable. But Um, I'm just going to say, guys, get out in the bush, reconnect with nature, have some fun, enjoy life. Uh, there's a lot to learn. Enjoy the company you're with and just enjoy life. But I want to thank everybody for coming in. I see it's been over an hour. Hey, Marco, how you doing, Arkansas? Guys, I'm just no tears of sadness. These just tears of joy. To see by on here. I tell you guys, I'm looking forward to seeing her daughters, in-laws, and so forth. But I just hate that I wasn't able to get better footage, but I will. So, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end this live right now. I want to thank everybody for dropping in. Hit the like, comment, share, subscribe. And I'm going to be seeing you all on the next video. All right, guys, I'm going to go right now. Again, tears of happiness. Glad to see my Aunt Maggie Hart. Have a good one, guys.